like this number. Don't you know he's listening? The 13. He's here.
You have entered the 13, a place where real stories about music, touring, and the beyond are told. Music does something to us. We all experience it in our own way. It can affect our senses, transport us through time, and release emotions. On this podcast, we will talk with people about the power of music and the beyond. What does the beyond mean? Let's find out together. Turn on your metronomes because this time is about to be tracked. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the 13. I'm your host, Ryan 13. And on today's episode, I turned 40. And I have a bunch of friends and family. Well, you know what? They're all family. I have a bunch of family come hang out with me and we just talk. We get down into some things, maybe talk about some things that people don't normally talk about in their day-to-day lives, which is what we love to do on the 13. We also talk about music. We also talk about, aliens and all kinds of fun stuff. So buckle up, buddy. This is great. And it's the very first episode of the 13 podcast with multiple guests. Enjoy. Thank you guys so much for being here on the 13. I appreciate this. Everyone who doesn't know what's going on, everybody surprised me for my 40th birthday last week, and the universe didn't want it to happen. So we're making it happen in a day. And so anyway, guys, one of the first questions I want to ask every single one of you, and this is going to hark to music because this is a music podcast, and we're going to start with Deanna. Deanna, what are you currently listening to music-wise? It doesn't have to be a band. It could be just some song you like or whatever. Do you have some? And the reason I'm asking is because I need a new playlist, and I want you guys to make my new playlist. And I have a pen.
Huh.
If you don't know, I can circle back.
I was going to say Celine Dion. You should add that to your list.
Which song? My Heart Will Go On.
Any of them.
The one from the Titanic. Okay, Celine Dion. We're adding that down. Darren, what's yours?
Oh, I haven't even been listening to any music.
Oh, okay.
That's not true. I was going way back listening to some Gary Hughes. It's new age stuff.
Yeah.
Way back.
Way back.
Yeah.
Gary, anything in particular from him?
No, just the whole album. It's kind of a whole album thing for me. Ancient Evenings, I think, was the name of it.
Perfect. Awesome. Writing it down. Jack, what are you listening to?
I've been branching out a little bit lately. I've been listening to Stuck on You by Naulu. It's a Japanese band. It's like
a
sort of J-pop thing, which is weird because you think
stuff.
I'd be more of a metal guy, but I listen to everything.
I love it. I've been trying to branch out myself. Stuck on You. And what was the
Nowlu? Naulu.
Okay, right on. Thank you. Robster Lobster, what are you listening to?
So yesterday I saw for the first time Bridesmaids.
Okay.
And at the end of that movie, they have this band the sisters, the Wilson Phillips sisters. The Wilson Phillips sisters, and they sing this song "Hold On," which I totally forgot even existed. And I was like, it just flooded all these memories of the '80s. So that's what I'm going to put on.
Okay, perfect, dude. Thank you. See, like when I go to work, on the way to work Monday, I'm going to have all of these great things to listen to, and they're not going to match at all. And it's going to be perfect.
Not at all.
All right. Bobby or David, what have you guys been listening to?
Well, I'll go. I guess audiobooks don't count.
Audiobooks do count. I'm listening to an audiobook right now called The Fall of Lucifer, and it's fantastic.
That's metal.
Yeah. Well, we'd have to have a whole episode dedicated to audiobooks.
Okay.
But when I've been pulling up on my Amazon Music, I guess you're gonna laugh, but Lab Rats.
Lab Rats, really?
Yeah, Lab Rats. Midnight Train is generally my go-to song when I want something to kind of chill and rock to.
Dude, I love it. Awesome. Bobby, what about you?
Well, I'm not really a music girl. I'm a audiobook
So
podcast
we're
girl.
listening to the score to Zelda.
So yeah, I was gonna say Lindsey Sterling. I love
Oh,
Lindsey
okay.
Sterling. Yeah.
Awesome. Writing it down.
And she does have some Zelda stuff.
She does, dude. Lindsay, she's awesome. Brandon, welcome.
Hi.
Brandon Thomas from Expanding Reality, everybody. My good friend. I've known him for 1,000 years. Brandon, so what we're doing right now is we're doing what we do on your show. Frequency Theorist, let it down. Let all the hair down.
I was putting it back up. It was all fucked up. Go ahead.
We're doing what we do on the Frequency Theorist thing, where we're just kind of making a playlist, except my playlist isn't going on Spotify. It's just something I'm going to listen to on the way to work on Monday. So what
cool.
have you been listening to like real recently? What's something you would recommend me check out?
Yes, I'm going to hop on my Spotify for confirmation because my music I changed so much. I've been listening to Raw is a given because of Ben.
Oh, right.
Anytime that song comes on, I'm just
which Raw song though? Because they had a couple on MTV. Oh yeah, that was a good one.
I'm gonna go really interestingly with this. I'm gonna text it to you, Ryan. It's called Moonlight by this lady. I'd never heard of her before, and it was a song that popped up, and now it's just cool, and now it's just a groove. And it's going to not sound like it comes from a guy that looks like this, but I'm jamming to this lately, honestly. Kelly Euchris, her name is Kali, last name Uchis. Song is Moonlight. I just texted it to you so you have it directly. Oh, it's just a jam, dude. I've been doing a lot of like different stuff and having just grooves in the back. There's another one, Flow With It by St. Paul and the Broken Bones. Like just all these things that pop up in that just sort of chill funk category. And I'm just like, man, add it to the playlist. So that's honestly what's been around lately.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. This is great.
New shit.
I'm telling you, man.
I had to look it up and tell you the name of it because I haven't been into it that long.
My Monday is going to be just fantastic now because I'm going to start the day off with like this crazy genre, all these different genres of music, and we're just going to have a great day. Awesome. So Brandon, one of the other things we're doing is a raffle. And what's your favorite number?
What range?
All ranges, any range. I mean, Lobster already said 420, so you can't take that one.
I wasn't going to. That's too obvious. I knew Lobster wanted. I hear you, Lobster. Intuitively, I'm going to say 1033.
1033. Dawn, you got it?
I got it. Thanks, Brandon.
Yes, ma'am. Nice to meet all y'all, by the way. This is cool.
Yeah. So everybody, that's one of the things I kind of wanted to do. Literally everybody here is family. I mean, every single one of you, including Brandon, but more so it's most of you and of course Lobster. You know your family, Lobster. You've been family for fucking ever. I mean, like 27 years, right? Maybe 29, 30, 45. I mean, I'm only 40, so we've been friends for 45 years, right? Yeah, I think that's.
Dang, you're old.
Yeah.
100 years. 100 years.
100 years. That's right. That's right. Well, we may have met in a previous life, and that's totally cool. But anyway, long story short, let's start with everybody just kind of saying hi and who you are to introduce people. I mean, obviously the family knows who you are, but let's just say what's up. So Deanna, say what's up to everybody.
What's up, everybody? I am the oldest sister in Dawn's family. Good times.
Darren, you're next.
Where did that Southern accent come from? I'm Darren, and I'm married to this one. That's how I'm part of the family.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah.
Where did that Southern accent come from? I think we went camping and that happened too. And we were like sitting around the campfire and you were like,
where did that come from?
Where did that accent come from?
They just show up sometimes.
When I was younger, I had it a lot. So I don't know. That's my real accent.
Awesome. Jack.
My name's Jack. It's nice to meet y'all's. Where'd that Southern accent come from? I'm his nephew. I'm David's kid. He's the one over there. Whichever direction he's at up there somewhere.
Yeah, it could be anywhere. It's down in the middle. Lobster, tell us a little bit about yourself.
my name is Rob, and I go by Robster the Lobster sometimes. Other times I might go by Cheesy Ball or Robbie Dobby Doo, or I don't know. There's a slew of names out there, I'm sure. And yeah, I met Ryan through mutual friend Byron, and we've been friends ever since. And we lived close together. We live far apart, but we've always kind of like stay connected and yeah. And I need to get up there to Kingwood and see you guys again soon. Yeah. You have a puppy I haven't even met.
We got so many puppies. You have a puppy I haven't even met. What's your new puppy's name?
Oh, you haven't met? This is Princess Buttercup.
Oh,
Aw.
yes.
Little snack.
Butternuts.
The eighth ventura. It's cute.
Butterstuff.
Butternuts.
Butternuts. Oh,
Yeah.
that movie. What's that movie? I can't even remember the name of that.
Half Baked.
Half Baked. Yeah, that's perfect.
The perfect 420 movie.
It is. It's perfect. That's why it's your raffle number. All right, Bobby. Bobby, tell us a little bit about yourself. Or just say hi.
Well, hi. I'm Ryan's sister-in-law. I'm married to David, Don's brother. And then been around for a while.
David.
What's up? Yeah, I'm Don and Deanna's brother. I'm the oldest of the Armstrong siblings. And so yeah, that's my role.
Awesome.
I can
And
pick on everybody and get away with it.
yes, you do. And dude, you're like the father figure, brother. Like when I went to go ask when I wanted to ask Don to get married, I came to you. Like there's a reason for that. And I love the shit out of you. I love the shit out of all of you. And yeah, anyway.
Love you too, brother.
Nice. Brandon. Oh,
virtual hugs.
Brandon Thomas, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Brandon Thomas. Ryan and I've known each other, God, like 20-something years. I was telling our story the other day, picking somebody up from the airport, and on my key ring is that little leather pick holder.
I still can't believe you still have that.
I know it's barely hanging on there, but it's been on my keys since I met you, man. It's gone to it's been the key ring that all other keys are built on. So we met via this key ring that you had on your pants as well, because we all wore them on the outside so we wouldn't give our guitars, belt rash or whatever. And yeah, dude. So I guess I'm just a dude, I'm out here, I guess, deliberate creating it up. I've kind of unsubscribed from the Matrix, if you want to put it that way. And I've got a publishing house and a very successful podcast, and we've been in a few documentaries. I was a guest author in a book. A lot of things are coming together right now that are huge and very cool. And I'm just loving every minute of it. So yeah, that's kind of what I've got going on. Wife and I have a ranch in North Texas. It's great. We've been out here 8 years, just had our 9th year anniversary.
Congrats.
Going great.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. How's everybody doing in the heat out there?
It's hot, dude. It's fucking hot. And it's like everything's dead, the donkeys are great. We just took them a bunch of apples, and we have a bunch of stuff that we had for them that was cold. So like cucumbers and apples and all kinds of stuff, and filled up their water. So everybody's doing well. It's just hot, They've got plenty of shade and plenty of water, plenty of stuff, but it's hot.
Right on. So one of the things is I wrote down this list of things when it was just going to be me and a couple of guys that are not here today, but it was all just like music and conspiracy theory stuff. So I'm literally going to jump right into some weird stuff that some of y'all may not know anything about, or may have more opinions on than I even knew you did. And I want to hear what you think about this. So is the government talking about aliens a distraction? Or do you think they finally are just like, oh yeah, there's aliens now? Because there really are. Anybody can go first. Yes. To both?
Yes.
All right, Jack, elaborate.
They've done that for a while, it's just something comes up, then, oh, look, aliens, something comes up. Oh, now there's a war over there. It's just a lot of stuff happens to cover up little things.
Yeah.
I think. But also, the galaxy's so big, I'm not saying that there couldn't be aliens. All right, that they
Right.
could exist. But if they had the technology to come here to visit the planet, I don't know if it'd go under the radar as long as it had, you know.
Sure. Yeah, my thing about it is like if they were able to come here, are they going to be? If they were going to be hostile, they would already have been hostile because they
Yeah.
had the technology to come here. So they would.
There's not a dang thing we could do about it.
Yeah, it would have been like, all right, we're gonna. But like, if you're a dude trying to take, and Deanna and Darren, you guys take pictures of birds. If you're trying to take pictures of birds, like you're trying to not scare the bird, right? Not trying to freak the bird out. If you want to study the bird, you're trying to hide, maybe hang out behind a rock and be like, man, got
The
that
birds aren't
mockingbird.
real, man. The
Birds
birds are
aren't real.
robots.
That's all right. That's
Government
true.
drones.
Yeah, birds are
Government
fake.
drones, dude.
Baby pigeon ever.
He said birds aren't real.
Birds aren't real. Birds are fake.
They charge on power
Hashtag
lines.
Lars is
Yeah.
fake.
Lars is fake.
Oh, the aliens spy on us. Bird drones.
I mean, maybe aliens look like us. I don't know. What Brandon, what are you thinking?
Oh my God! Does anybody else want to go? Because I could go for a while on this. Anybody else got any thoughts or comments?
Like you ever take a dollar bill? You ever take a dollar bill? You ever see a dollar bill? Now you ever seen a dollar bill on weed, man? Guy in the bushes. Does he have a gun? I don't know.
Exactly. I mean, that's a good. So is
Oh, that
the
got
government
$2
telling you aliens are real important to you? Is usually my question with that. Is government disclosure important to you? Is the government's coming out and saying, "Hey, we know what aliens are, and here's what they are from our perspective, and this is what they are." Like, is that important to anybody here?
Not really. It's
No.
fun to talk about.
Your
though.
day.
Is it going to lower the housing market cost?
It's the interesting part to that question, because a lot of people talk about disclosure as we are now, and that's been my thing from the go. It's like, is disclosure important? And I've not had a great relationship with the authority figures in my life. Let's say pastors, teachers, church, politicians, all of that stuff. So I just have a very, I come in with a very sus attitude about it, with a sort of a, not a wound, but just a once bitten, twice shy thing. Like, I'm out of looking at that as a means of telling me something authentic. And so whenever it's breached, to answer the question, Ryan, I look at the way that it's breached, and they're not having people like me that are really asking questions like, well, maybe there's no from there. Maybe there's the aliens are from here all along, and maybe there's no such thing. And like, what is this place? And I feel that there's a lot held from us about what we are, what the structure of this place is, what our purpose, if any, or the meaning that we can give life, how powerful you are. That's a huge apprehension of your psyche based on predictive programming and all sorts of fun things. But when the governments now are talking about it, they're, like I said, not asking philosophers like me about it. They're parading in front of you military generals and people telling you how much of a threat it's going to be, and how important it is that the governments and militaries of the world work together. And then I'm thinking also back to that Reagan speech. This has been planted all along. So you can look back to the 89 Ronald Reagan speech, where he said, and he said in two different speeches, but that was one of the more notable, where he said all of our differences would vanish in an instant if a threat from outside were to come in, an alien threat. And he said it in the UN in 89. So then you're saying, okay, well, what differences do we have? Like, I have a difference of opinion on wanting to be controlled in a system that's full of pedophiles and stripping you of your sovereignty. And that, to me, if they're putting out in front of you that differences would dissolve because of an alien threat, and now it seems to be that we're presented with something like an alien threat, or it's at least being talked about that it's going to be a threat, then what I'm thinking is the difference is dissolved as your rights and your sovereignty. So when people are sitting there saying, yeah, the governments of the world are coming out, aliens are real. Yeah, dude, they've been around for a long time. The question is, and conversation we've been having is not, are they real? It's what are they? What's our relationship to that? What's that relationship to reality? What does that show you beyond what the structures here gaslight you against that's right in front of your face? And so that's where I'm at with it. I think that the governments of the world are telling you something is going on. They're packaging it in the perspective that's always perception management, which is what their job is to
it's aliens.
Apprehend the
Here you go.
Yeah.
Today,
like the Simpsons thing when they pull the mask off, it's both lizard turds under each mask. That's kind of what it is. It's just it's a game out there, and that game wants you to be a certain way, and you don't have to stay subscribed to it. So that's kind of the way I look at it.
Dude, I love that. And that was super deep. Like I had to sit there and go, yes, 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 yes. And then my brain.
That's just what it
kinda
is for
broke.
me. That's how I see it.
Bobby, David, what do you guys think? Distraction or reality or both?
I think distraction. It's not something I've really even paid any attention to because it doesn't affect my life at all. So I'm not really all that interested in it, honestly. I'm like, oh yeah, but I have bills to pay and I'm looking for a job. So like I don't really, this isn't earth shattering. This isn't changing my world or my perception of anything. So I haven't really put a whole lot of thought into it.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
The aliens aren't invading. The aliens aren't hot. Doesn't matter.
They're not like in your backyard or something. Like, hey, what's
Right?
up?
Yeah.
Have you heard the
I
new thing? The
I've
police
been
department
fascinated.
saying. No, please go ahead.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I've been fascinated about the sightings for years, and what I love that they've declassified a lot of the audio and the video, right? You know, but if you go through those tapes, and I've been kind of a nerd on them a little bit, they're consistent, right? You know, the overall shape and the movement characteristics are just consistent, and right. So the sci-fi geek in me, you know, it has all these scenarios in my head. Well, is it this? Is it a probe? Is it a ship? You know, I mean, what could it be? You know, and I keep circling around to the Atlantis thing, you know, but I don't know. But
Yeah.
it's got to be something, you know, and I don't think that it's a natural phenomenon. I guess it could be, but it's just something. It's a bit of technology and science that, you know, we just haven't developed enough understanding to even comprehend it, right? You know, because you just can't move that way, right? You know, with the technology that we have, you know, and our science just can't even unravel, you know, that concept yet. So it's pretty fascinating to me. So I think it's legit and real. Now, whether it's an alien being or the extraterrestrial or even terrestrial, you know, like the Atlantis, you know, funny thing, right? We don't know. And I think that, you know, our technology, you know, will catch up to us and we'll have answers 50, 100 years down the road.
Yeah,
It's
I
neat.
love that. And you know what I really like is that you mentioned Atlantis, and then all I can think of when an Armstrong mentions Atlantis is Stargate.
Stargate.
Like, just immediately go to Stargate.
Wormholes.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna ascend. You know, it's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, that's interesting how they bring that up.
Lobster, what do you think? Distraction, reality, all of the above.
Reality. Why are you guys seeing it? Why are you seeing the truth? There's aliens. They're coming to get us. They're going to probe our behinds. How come no one's doing anything about it, man?
Protect your bum.
No, honestly, like I had a philosophy in college. I'd written down in my shower, deny the believer and question the skeptic. And what that meant to me was that, like, if someone came to me and they just, you know, completely believed something to their core, and like they just like they would not listen to, they would not even entertain like another opinion or point of view, I was just going to deny that. I was going to deny that. And then if someone was skeptical, I was going to question that person and say, why are you skeptical of this? Like, what about this? I'll play devil's advocate a lot of times. And you know, I think it's a distraction, honestly. I think the, you know, I think the whole, like, I watched the court proceedings, and I think the big thing is the guy was saying, you know, interdimensional. So maybe not even aliens, but you know, but it was just Congress, you know, basically saying, oh, are there programs and things that we aren't seeing? And you know what they said? They said that, yeah, well, you know, every year on the Pentagon's budget, there's $1 billion that is not accounted for. Like, so that's like the real question. Like, what's going on there? Like, there's $1 billion that we just don't know what's happening with, you know, like that's not something that, you know, maybe you should figure it out, you know, so maybe they are going to figure that out, but I doubt it.
I doubt it. One of the things that freaks me out about that is like when you start diving into things and you start seeing where all this taxpayer money is supposedly going, is you start seeing like this, we're running rats on treadmills in Egypt for 43 days at a time, you know, like, and it costs $4.6 billion. And you're like, But why?
Yeah, that's true. And that's just, there's more like $1 billion is not accounted for every year. There's probably like hundreds of billions of dollars that is accounted for that's just like, ballooned up or disproportioned or like doesn't even, none of that even makes sense when you actually calculate it out and stuff like that. So
it's all going to the secret mech fund.
I also take the opinion of,
I like Jack's theory here.
if I can't affect change, like I can only affect change in my small bubble of friends and people that I know and stuff like that. And that's all I'm really concerned about. So anything outside of that, I'll listen to it and take interest in it and I'll have conversations about it. But in the end, I'm more concerned about like, what's going on with the people's lives around me and how can I help and, what's going on with all that and stuff. You know what I mean?
So you're not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
I'm saying that's outside. At the end of the day, that's outside my bubble. So like we can sit here and have a funny conversation about it, but like, I think it's a distraction. Okay. And
right on.
Yeah,
tending his garden. Tend your
I
garden.
think there is like multi-dimensional thing to a reality. Like I think there is a 4-dimensional space that we don't perceive and stuff like that. So I think there is something. There is obviously stuff that we don't see that's around us. And it's not going to look like a spaceship traveling from another solar system. It's not going to look like that. That doesn't make sense to me in my head. It's going to be something else.
Yeah, hell yeah, right on. Deanna, did you tell me a distraction or not? What do you think?
I don't know. I just think it's just more nonsense, but I didn't really pay attention to any of it that came out. The only reason why I knew was because this kid at work that stays current with everything was talking about it, but whatever. I don't think it is going to interest anybody.
How does that affect those now that we're talking about it so openly? You guys that don't, literally care. Like it doesn't affect your lives. Like, how do you feel that the governments just came out and said that aliens exist, that they didn't tell you what they were, but they said that something not here that is a threat to your security exists out there and no one batted an eye. I'm just curious to see why, like what your thoughts are on that stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you me, like I'm thinking from my point of view, I'm like, the first thing I thought was, oh my God, they finally admitted it. And then I go, but why?
Yeah.
Why have they been
people
keeping
like us
this?
Are like, oh, they said it, but they're full of shit and we don't believe them. Yeah. And then y'all heard it, but don't care. And I just think that that's interesting.
That's because, like, practically, what am I going to do with that information? It's like,
well, does that like change the way that you feel about your relationship to reality and the cosmos and anything like that?
I've always known the universe is huge. There's stuff out there we don't know about. There's stuff on our own planet we don't know about.
That's
right?
What I'm
like
saying.
Deep in the oceans, it's
them saying that is the equivalent of them going, "Hey, we found a new shark."
Yeah.
And this is the effect that it's had on everybody. It's like, hey, we found a new shark. It's super deadly and it can kill you, but just don't go in the internet.
That's the time for them to say something if we're just kind of all discarding it. Because if they had done this a lot earlier, then that would have been a panic situation. But the world is way more open to a lot of whatever now.
Yeah,
but I've been reading, I didn't know anything about this, but what I was reading, was it really the government that said this, or was it just the 3 former military people that came forward saying this is what it is, and the government's just having a hearing over it? I don't think, from what I've read, the government hasn't said that this is a thing. As much as it's said,
Obama.
Well, maybe there's some unidentified
was on
stuff
the show
out there that we need to research more. Is kind of what I was getting.
It's not like they paraded an alien in front of us. It's not like they said, "Oh, look, here's the ship. We found it, Area 51. Let's just open that up." So there is a lot of skepticism because I don't trust a lot of what the government tells me. So why am I gonna? There's no proof other than the videos that we've been looking at for years being told are all fake or this or that. It's not enough for me to be worried about. And like Jack said, if a fleet of aliens come and attack our planet, there's nothing I'm going to be able to do about it anyway.
What if they don't attack? What if they just land and say, hey, your government's full of lizard turd pedophilias and it's actually a mistake and we apologize. You can do anything you want. You can do anything you want with your life. The mistake has been corrected. Time and money don't matter. It's sort of a reset. What would you do?
Jump up and down and have a
I would sign up.
yeah.
Last Starfighter. I want an extra.
Yeah, let me Last Starfighter. Heck yeah. Where's my Greg? Let's go.
This is what I found interesting though, is because those are the sort of implications we're talking about here. This is you guys not ever paying a power bill again. That's 0-point field energy that's flying around above your heads that the government is alluding to the fact that they have recovery of, that you don't have to do fossil fuels, you don't have to go through brownouts and shit like that, and people die in cold and heat and like extreme heat and stuff. That's the implication of this technology, and it's your government that just kind of said, yeah, but it's a threat. But it's not a threat from the thing that has it. It's a threat from the people who have it, keeping you going. No, darling, we got to keep the house at 80, even though it's 111 out. Like, that's bullshit. None of us should live like this. And the things flying around above us show that. That's free energy. However it got here, it's free energy. And it takes all of this out of this bullshit. And that's the implication of it. That's what I find so fascinating. That oh, well, and that's what we've been talking a lot about lately. This is beyond technology. It's consciousness.
And just like that, Brandon was gone.
Yeah.
He lives in the middle of nowhere. He lives in the middle of nowhere, so sometimes it bails. Brandon, you're back.
They caught on to him, man. He should have been protected himself.
There you go. You know, it's funny you have the aluminum hat because it's made out of aluminum now, not tinfoil. Here's another hijacking of your consciousness.
Ooh.
That wouldn't do shit.
I love you, overlords. I didn't mean it.
The tinfoil, get the real shit.
Yeah, it's supposed to be tinfoil. So like going to the Mandela effect. I'm not going down the Mandela effect road. We're not going down this road.
No, let's go.
We'll go down conspiracy theories all day long. And you know what? Like Darren was right. Like the government hasn't necessarily said that the aliens are real,
No,
but
you
there's
are
been
right.
people from the government who have, or at least had some type of high whatever clearance, have come out and said these things, which doesn't mean anything, I guess. And like Bobby said, until you have a body, until you literally see something. When we see video, it's just like Bigfoot. I know I've seen Bigfoot in my brain when I was a 17-year-old, but it could have just been some bum in the woods, which, I mean, I live close to Houston. It totally could have been a bum.
And video in itself as a form of evidence is becoming less and less reliable.
I don't think.
Yeah, with all the AI and stuff coming out now, it's scary how accurate it can be.
So,
right.
Then the question, and it's interesting, we start talking about free energy and how it's being held from you, and all of a sudden I glitch out and have to come back into media. I just think that's interesting, right? Right at the point where I'm here empowering all of you about how you're way more powerful, and that's what the real crux of this is your power. And so that's what's interesting about this, is because yes, we know that the governments are saying whatever they're saying. We know that we don't believe a fucking word that they're saying. So what would it take for you to enjoy, benefit the realization that you were part of something so massive and that just wants to share itself in all of the glory with you? The answer is probably the way that it's been formulated throughout the contact experience, because I've talked to hundreds of people who have been interfaced with this phenomena, whatever it is, and it has changed them. I don't know what it is. It's very subjective. It ties into a lot of things, but it changed them. And so you could say then that really what we're being prepared for is this thing landing and making a very personal, intimate contact with you. And through the narrative we've been given is, yeah, they're real, but ooh, they're scary. Yeah, they're real, but they're going to poke you in the butt. Like maybe, but maybe it's nothing like that at all. But maybe you've been told that to fear something that's so awesome and that will free you all and the lizard turd parasites that have overlaid over the sovereign nation that this used to be.
Yeah, but maybe it's nothing at all. It still could be nothing at all.
It
could be nothing at all.
Just smoke and
I mean, that is still a possibility, right? That
It's just a possibility,
nothing.
yeah.
Everything's on the table, which is why this conversation's awesome. Because before aliens weren't a thing, or before if they were, it didn't matter. But now the way it's being talked about is that it's a possibility, and that's what the slogan of my show is. It's not, oh, this is what aliens are. It's the expansion of consciousness cleverly disguised as a podcast. And that's the whole point, is that you expand consciousness by critical thinking. Mastering life is the mastering of the asking of questions. And so through that, you gain the awareness of possibilities. And this is where you escape this idea where your government presents an either or option to you, because you're so wired to see this place in a new way. You don't have a subjective, You have so much more of an open view of this place where dichotomy exists, where there are multiple points of view that are true and absolutely exist in the same place at the same time that would have contradicted one another in the past. That no longer applies. And this is why this is interesting, is because we talk now about the possibilities. So that's where you start to dissolve limitation. And that's where things get exciting as a societal level.
I like what you're saying there. I mean, it's funny, so, we can have this conversation right here. It's theoretical, right? In some aspects of it, we're branching out. But 100 years ago, when Jules Verne, was just now trying to bring in, science fiction, right? As fiction, as literature. Right. Yeah. So you had a small acceptance level, but as our technology and information sharing has changed, different people, have been sharing different ideas in a fictional sense, right? And finding a little bit of truth. And that's just morphed over the years to where we can talk about and, and giggle about Stargate or Star Trek or, I mean, there's a ton of fictional books I've read over the years. I mean, hundreds of them, right? But you take all these little nuggets that were coming out of an individual's imagination, right? And we hear these stories and then we develop our own imagination and theories and we share them in our media and our technology. Now it's really grown into our society, so that way we've got these great concepts, that as a culture and just as a people, that we can entertain all this where we're not just shocked and thinking, oh my gosh, but we're like, okay, I can see that. I mean, if technology walked in today that was a teleporter or just something, crazy like that, we'd be able to accept it because we've already kind of been indoctrinated to that level of thinking, right? So it's cool the way that you were fleshing it out. Yeah,
it reminds me of the first Indians that saw the conquistadors. Supposedly, they didn't actually see them. They were like literally almost to the shore, and because they couldn't fathom these giant ships on the sea, it was blank. They didn't see anything until all of a sudden they came on shore, and then they saw it, and it was like right there. It's like they magically appeared. I always liked that. I don't know how true that is.
Yeah, but it's
I agree with that because they were called they were dropped by great birds, right? When they were referring to the sails of the ships, right?
Yeah, the invisible ships, that the conquistadors were sailing over on. I've heard this is one. I'm with you on your skepticism of this, Lobster dude. I've thought about this as well because if they were that close to the water, they were seafaring people. They at least had boats, and really one of the contentions was that they could see the wake, but they couldn't understand what was making it. And it's like, well, they had a variety of things to pick from. There was a consistent wake, but it wasn't a whale because whales do that and go back. So there were all sorts of things psychologically to where I think it's an awesome story. And it has to do with the ability to articulate something and to show someone something in a way they couldn't have seen before on their own. But I'm with you. Now, I'm also with you on the possibilities of it. It could either be absolutely true and it's a fascinating psychological experiment, because also scientists will go back and say that we couldn't always see the colors that we could see now. Like blue came to us later. Like there's blue fucking everywhere. What are you talking about? But for some reason, they say that we could not see the color blue and that we evolved into that. But there are
people today that have additional cones in their eye that can see colors into the ultraviolet light range that we cannot see. So, yeah.
Colors I can't even describe when I come back from psychedelics, and they're very, very real in our reality. So it's a very interesting thing, and it all has to do with perception. This is why, like you were talking about, the stuff being put out like aliens, craft, all of these things, and why it's so blasé, it's because it's very deliberately been woven into our societies from the fabric of humanity. So you have oil paintings of the Virgin Mary with UFOs beaming lights down on her. This phenomena has been with humanity since we've been here. It's in paintings galore, petroglyphs all over the place. Many cultures knew very openly about this. We're the ones that were gaslight against it. It's just interesting. It's all around you. You can see it everywhere.
Dude, absolutely. Like that's like when I first started seeing the paintings and all, I mean, and they're not terribly old, like 1500 paint, from 1500 or whatever, but you're seeing, but you're looking at them and it's like, that's a UFO and it's got a beam coming out of it onto the Virgin Mary or onto Jesus or onto whatever. And there's always these things flying around in the sky that look like what we would describe as like maybe an alien craft or whatever. But like, if it wasn't, what the heck were they painting? Were they just being artistic? Were they just like, you know what? I think birds look like a flying saucer. And they just spent a lot of time on this little tiny thing in the corner. Or was it a message? Was it some type of message to somebody else? Like when Dante wrote you know, when the Dante's Inferno was written, like that was a message to somebody, you know, like the whole thing was artistic. It has nothing really to do with him traveling all the way through all the different levels of hell. Like that doesn't go necessarily with the Bible, but it was a message, and it was a message to the government about him being exiled and all kinds of things. So do you think in these paintings that maybe when they're making these little, I don't know, UFO looking things or whatever, maybe it's a message to somebody, not necessarily that it's a UFO, but that it's a big middle finger to you about something they're dealing with, I don't know, government, life.
The whole phenomena is a middle finger to reality. The whole phenomena. It's a whatever you monkeys or whatever have come up with, like this is your middle finger, and it's all the same thing. I feel all of it's connected in some way. That's why it changes constantly. I think it has so much more to do with time than we understand. I had Mike Ricksecker. We recorded his second episode. He's a author, a real cool dude. And he has a new book about time that came out. That's one thing that we were really talking about. I've been fascinated with that concept of that basically our world isn't a world, it's a realm, and that there's just this plane of existence, and it extends way beyond what we're told, by the way, which could be part of where that missing money is going. Not a flat earth of sense, but just a realm in which we exist that we perceive this place as. And then it's just governed by time. So cyclically, this place wipes itself clean. A new civilization comes on, and you have a speed dating with Gaia, basically. And then you have these 1,000-year reigns, 10,000-year reigns, but this is an infinite stack of time, this direction and that way, not this way and that way. So really, it's all stacked. So what you're seeing are craft from the future. And then whenever you see like a demon or something, maybe these stories come about. Maybe it was a real entity or a being or a creature that lived in this place, and that time is fluid at some points or some junctures, or for electric anomalies, there's geomagnetic anomalies that are fascinating that have to do with these time slip stories, which are super interesting. You have stories about like a grandmother, these three guys walk into a cabin and they see to clean out their grandmother's cabin after she passed. And in her favorite chair, they see her grandmother sitting there, but she was already dead. They were there to clean it out. They freak out and turn around and run out of the room. Later, when they're cleaning out the grandmother's house, they find her diary. In her diary, dated some 50 years before, it said, "Oh my God, I was sitting on in the chair today, looking at the door, and all of a sudden, 3 ghosts walked through the door, and it scared me half to death, and then they just vanished." Those are time slips, like that kind of shit happening here. There are hundreds of stories like this. So when you take that into account, then you think these little machines, whatever they are, time travel, dude. It's just traveling to different planes of existence, points of time on this plane of existence, and who knows what that is? I mean, it's like I said, this place is way more magical and fascinating than any, than the authority figures would like for you to know, because it's just so cool. Like there's so much cool shit here that really you don't have to like be a slave to that shit, which is what it really empowers you to do, is to go, no thank you. And that's what they don't.
It can also be nothing.
It could be nothing.
It could also be nothing. I mean, it could be nothing, maybe like the guy who was drawing the UFO thing, like he just thought that was pretty. Maybe the hieroglyphic that looks like a helicopter, the guy just farted and made a mistake while he was drawing the hieroglyphic, Maybe the lady was just like, she wasn't getting any attention, so she came up with this story so that she could get some attention. Like, I mean, maybe it's nothing.
No.
Maybe it's nothing.
I will tell you this.
Is why this shows
Ryan
up in
and
the
I
category of
watched a movie last night called, what was it? Cave of Bones off
Cave of
Netflix.
Bones.
You guys. Oh my gosh. It's pretty interesting.
It was good.
So what did I think? I thought that it was
She kept calling it Littlefoot, like the little dinosaur from like the Land Before Time.
I believe they could be Littlefoot's if Bigfoot's are real.
What she means is like it's like Bigfoot like creatures, but they're tiny.
Yeah, absolutely. Pygmies.
I think it's interesting. Well, they said it was like
this is actually
300,000
bigger than
years ago.
pygmies. This is it's somewhere bigger than oh my gosh, I can't remember what ape they called it, but anyway, it's very human-like, but it's also very ape-like, but it's also very small, but it's still bigger than most apes, not the gorilla, obviously. Anyway, it's a fascinating Netflix thing. It's only about an hour and 15 minutes long, but it's fun to watch.
It's pretty interesting. Yeah, because they found these bones in a cave, and there's a lot to it.
And it's not just a cave. It's like they had to enter the cave, crawl up a cave, crawl down a tiny, tiny little hole with their dead bodies, bring the dead bodies down through this thing, find a giant cavern, make fires, rest for a second, then go crawl through another tiny little thing until they come into a chamber. And it's not something they made. It's something that just naturally existed. But the whole way they went, they marked it with tools. And this, I think they said it was 300,000 years old.
About 3. That's what they said.
Like it was a pretty old. Anyway, long story short, it's a really fun watch, and I recommend you guys go check it out.
Yeah.
Didn't Josh Gates, that guy that does Expedition Unknown, do something where he went down some of those, and that's in Spain, right?
It's different than what you're talking about.
It's different.
I don't remember where was this. Like,
There's a lot of old bones.
I want to
in the
say
world.
South Africa for some reason, but I don't know.
I think that I don't remember where it was actually. That's funny because it was like the last thing we watched at the end of the night. It was like, I'm about to fall asleep. Put on something I can fall asleep to, and we put this on. I'm like, hold on a second.
It's the wrong call. But it was cool. It was interesting.
Okay, guys. So you guys, we're gonna change this up real quick, and
no more aliens.
We're not doing more aliens or more conspiracy theories. We've been talking for about an hour, which is fantastic, which is all the time I wanted to take up. And you guys are more than welcome to stay and talk with me after this. We're gonna do the raffle and stuff, but this is because I like to be selfish and stuff. I want to hear your favorite memory of me, and we're gonna start with Deanna. Make one up. I don't care. Just make it up.
Me?
Because you're on the left side. You're right there on the screen.
It doesn't have to be a favorite memory. Just how about a memory? Just be like, all right, this one time Ryan did a thing. And then we'll go, okay, cool.
Played a guitar one time, I think. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. Jack's already got his. Jack's done. Checked. Played his guitar one time. Brandon, somebody, Deanna, whoever.
Stands out.
Say that one more time. Sorry.
You at Christmas time always stands out to me.
It's because I'm weird.
You mean the time
like
that
camping
they had
and
it
stuff?
at their house? Oh, when we
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I highlight moments cooking and
Oh yeah. We've done some.
I can't be like, oh, Ryan did this really silly thing that really made me laugh, but yeah, cooking. I don't know. You're like
cooking makes sense. That makes sense. I like cooking. It's good. Darren, you're next because you're sitting right there. Just make up one.
No, I mean, I got one thing that I remember. It's not a funny thing or anything, but it's my first Ryan memory, and it's I don't remember what the occasion was, but we were here at our house. It was nighttime. You and I, at least, were out at the pool, and we were just having a talk. And
I remember that. Yeah,
you were asking. You liked our place, what do you got to do to get something like this kind of thing?
Oh yeah, that's right. So I was still a musician.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah. You weren't doing the inspection stuff or any of that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it was.
I remember that. I was picking your brain.
I think it was the first time I met you, to be totally honest.
First time I met you was in your other house. You guys were like doing renovations before you sold it.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But that was like one time, and it was real brief. I was like the new boyfriend.
Right. But we had this house at the same time, though. So I think I think it was the same time frame.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right on.
All right. I take it. So my favorite memory was really, I had gone to y'all's house, and it was like my birthday or something, and you were late coming home from work, and so you weren't going to be able to make it to dinner with us. So you brought home this cute little stuffed teddy bear and like a card for me. I still have that.
Oh,
that was a very long time ago. So that was super sweet, I thought.
Yeah, I remember doing that. That was fun. All right, Jack, make up some. Oh no, Jack already did it. He already said guitar that one time.
I have one. It was me and Lily where we were coming over to stay with y'all for a little bit. We were just hanging out. It's like one of the first times we just hung out. And I think it was like a Minions like party game or something.
Yeah.
And one of the guys' names that you already had programmed into your system was FUK. And I was young and I found that so funny. We were just laughing about it forever. So it's just like with a little shitting grin. It was just like I was like, oh, wait a second. These are like cool ants. They have curse words.
Deb, the cool ant and uncle.
Was that in the first apartment?
That was at the apartment, yeah.
I don't know.
That was funny.
I love that. That's great. And I'm only doing this because it's my birthday and I can. So thank you guys and for indulging me. And I really appreciate this stuff. Lobster, your turn. Make something up.
Well, I mean, I'm gonna just bring up the thing that you just sent me a picture of, and that's me, you, Don, and Byron sitting on the floor of your new apartment that we were moving stuff to and playing like no furniture, no nothing. And Byron brought like a super complicated sci-fi board game with 1,000 pieces, and we started playing. And then like later on, I ended up getting this board game, and it had an option to put myself in the board game.
Yeah,
that's me in the board game. And then later on, there was the next set was in space, and then they had in the first game there was a cook, and in the new game they made him a lieutenant cook, and I was like, Lieutenant Cook, it has to be Ryan Cook. So I got Ryan in the board game for the next one, and I need to come and give this to you. Dude, I know you bought the game.
I bought the game, dude. I bought the game, and like seeing my face on a character in the game is freaking hilarious.
Do you have the card? I haven't given you this yet. Right?
I don't have the card. I have a picture.
No, I have to give this to you. It's been like years, and I need to give this to you, but I have it. I have it here for you. Ready?
I love it. That's perfect, and thank you. That's so great. Bobby, David. Of course, the dog's banging on the door. She's like, "Let me in."
Rob, what's the game?
The game is called it's called Escape the Dark Sector, and it's like a story-driven game where you flip over a card and it'll be like, it's very descriptive, like you walk through a musky corridor and like a space alien jumps out and attacks you, and then you can either fight or run away, but you have to get through as a team. If one person dies, it's a co-op game, and if one person dies, you lose. So the four of you have to make it escape the alien derelict ship, the ghost ship or whatever.
It's like a TTRPG adjacent thing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. They do things where they release the vinyl record that's got like spooky space noises that you can play in the background. It's usually a game you would like turn the lights off and kind of play and kind of but yeah, no, it's a good game. They also have one called Escape the Dark. The first one is Escape the Dark Castle, and it's like more, you're all like peasants essentially, and you get to the mist. It's more fantasy based than sci-fi based.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not neat.
Dude, I love this. I've got that game sitting in the cellophane in the next room, sitting on top of my vinyl collection, because I'm not going to play it till you come over. So come on over, because you're the Lord. But I mean, maybe not in this whole realm, because I don't know. Bobby and David and Jack are pretty good. Man, hell, Deanna and Darren, everyone here is actually pretty good at board games. So I don't know who to tell the Lord.
Have you ever played a board game?
No, I don't think I ever have.
I don't think we ever have. No,
like not together. But I've watched you guys all play them on the internet. But Lobster has probably been the person who's introduced us the most to board games. Yeah, and like, I mean, Killer Bunnies was my favorite game ever for a little while. Like these are, and that was not even a board game. That's a card game, but still, it was so much fun. And then you bring that thing that you were talking about, like when we got that first apartment, and it was the most expansive, crazy game I'd ever seen in my life. And that basically people had to be like, Ryan, just roll these dice, or okay, no, Ryan, now you do this. Okay, now you do this.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it was fun. But
that game was called Eclipse, and yeah, it was a full galactic civilization sim.
Yeah, it was huge. It was huge. It took up the entire living room. I was like, "What are we gonna?
It was a good thing you didn't have furniture because we had space to grow."
Perfect timing.
Finish it?
We did not finish.
I don't think we
no,
finished
we did
that
not
game.
finish
I was
that
like,
game.
This hurts my brain, y'all. I couldn't follow. It was a lot. But
hey, Don, putting you on the spot. This is what this whole podcast has been about, putting people on the spot. What's your favorite memory of me?
Oh dear.
Ooh.
I've known you. I have so many favorite memories
Just
of you.
make up one. This is the whole thing. I'm trying to wrap this in it.
Oh my goodness.
All right, we'll let her think about it.
Well, when you proposed, I mean, come on. It was so cute.
No.
You were so nervous. But it was really amazing.
I was shaking like a leaf, dude.
And the funniest part is I really didn't know until you like got on down on your knee, and I was like, oh, that's what he's been trying. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah. I tried to take her to the bench that we like had our first kiss on inside this park, and the bench got taken away.
Oh no.
Stupid parks.
Uh-oh.
Parks and Recreation took our first bench. So
Aliens took the
I
bench.
go have this whole plan. Like, yeah, aliens took the bench. Have this whole plan, walking her in, like, oh crap, it's not there. What do I do now? What do I do now? Panic ensues, you know, like, and we're walking out of the park. She's like, why did we even do this? We were supposed to go grocery shopping. You're like, I let her go in front of me a little bit, then get on my knees or whatever, and I'm like, hey, will you marry me?
You were shaking.
It was bad.
It was very.
And we had gotten into a fight the week before or whatever, because I kept saying, I was like, I'm never going to get married. That's stupid. That's a dumb institution. Why would you ever want to do that? And
that's right.
we got into a fight. She slept on the couch.
I think I actually didn't say yes. I said, really? Like, will you marry? Really?
Well, it was because like I was trying to throw her off the scent, because I had that ring for, I don't know, like a month or two. And I thought maybe she found it when I was traveling. So when she kept bringing up this marriage thing, I was like, okay, what do I got to do? Like distraction, like our government's doing. And be like, no, it's never going to happen. That's stupid.
Full circle, Ron. I like the full circle.
All back, yeah.
Well, man,
so that's one off the top of my head. Yeah.
Well, I'll say, I've got, well, shoot. I mean, there's so many things, but I think there's two memories that have come up that are just sitting in my head. And it's not the first time I've met you, but I really remember the time. It was the first time that you and I walked off at my mom's house and actually just smoked a cigarette together, right?
Yeah.
And we're out, just me and you, nobody else is around, and we're smoking. And, it seemed like when you were always around me, you're kind of just not, just I don't know what to say, do without this guy. That was when you had that bandana always tied around your arm, and stuff. And you're tugging on it. And we were just talking and shooting the shit. And I'm talking about going and clubbing and doing crazy stuff, like back when I was young, dumb, and crazy. And you kind of let down, like, really? And then it was like a shift, right? It's like we finally connected and we're talking about stuff. And, that was fun. I loved that. Because like your whole demeanor to me, you're like, okay, this guy's all right,
Oh, okay. Then, not a narc. Cool. Let's be cool.
Not a narc, right? Yeah, exactly. Right. I guess the collar or whatever, but, and
no, it had nothing. It had nothing to do with it. It was just that you're the older brother. It was like, okay, I gotta like mind my P's and Q's here.
Yeah,
I need to be nice.
That's fair.
It was beautiful. Dude, it was beautiful. What's the other one? You said you had two.
Yeah. So it was when I came over to y'all's place when y'all were out in Kingwood. I think it was the first or second time I came to y'all's house, and it was just me because I was over there for work, right? And we were just chilling in the back patio. I think Dawn was off doing something, but you're barbecuing, and we were just sitting there, and we were just hanging out, and I think it was the first time you and I ever drank a beer together, right?
Yeah.
And so we're just that hanging out, chilling. It was great.
Yeah, that was a good time. I remember that too. Yeah, that was beautiful. We've had a lot of beautiful times together. It's been fantastic. Bobby, make one up.
Well, I don't have a specific, my memory is not that good for that kind of things, but I always have admired how much you loved Lily and Jack, and you and Dawn, and you would, take them in and go do fun things with them. And they always had such a blast with you, and you were, this cool uncle, but you got on their level. And I've always really appreciated how much you've been in their lives. And then I also like that I can text you about Legend of Zelda.
Yes, anytime. Anytime. And I enjoy every single text message when you're like, okay, so I know I have been playing too much Zelda when I think that the banana spider outside of my house needs to be killed with the Master Sword or whatever it was. Yes, oh no, that's what I text you back. I said, where's the Master Sword? Dude, perfect. So. You guys are awesome. I love you all so much. This has been fantastic. So are we doing the raffle thing, Don?
I guess. Did I turn this on?
Oh, I win. Thank you.
Here, you want to pick? It's your thing.
Let
All
the
right,
dog
and then
pick.
so somebody
Let the dog-
after we're done recording,
Oh, wait,
I'll get an address and I'll either deliver it to you personally or you're just getting it, snail mail.
Okay.
Ready, set?
Here you go.
Oh, it's a fancy thing.
Yeah,
It's
send it.
his nemesis hat.
It's the hard hat I hate the most.
Oh no,
Funny story.
Yeah, well, that's a story we'll tell later.
it doesn't have stickers on it. That's so you know he doesn't love it.
It's brand new.
Yeah.
It's gonna be David because I remembered his number because it's 6.
Oh. Do we tell him what he wants?
Well, you said we got to keep it a secret and let you
Well, at
want
the beginning, I want to keep it a secret.
All right.
I mean,
well,
you can.
we'll tell it.
If you want to. You can.
Sure, show me.
There's
You
a-
can,
there's
just,
a-
you can show me when you drive over here. That'd be great.
There's a well, maybe we'll have to do this together. There's a condition with it. Even if we don't do it together, you need to record yourself trying your new multi-dimensional Rick and Morty hot sauce collection.
Oh, wow.
Like I don't know, Rick. That looks kind of spicy.
I don't know, Rick.
I don't know, Rick. Like, man, I don't know.
Guys, thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the 13 for my fucking 40th birthday. You guys rock. I love every
Wow,
single
you're old.
one of you. Dude, the other day I was talking to somebody.
Right on
I
time.
was talking to somebody at work and they were like, how old were you? I was like 40. I was like, and I just shaved because I wanted to try to look younger for a minute. And they were like, oh, dude, you don't seem 40. I mean, like maybe 39. I was like, cool, dude.
Yeah, but he doesn't mention how many times he's had girls walk up to him.
I have been getting hit
recently.
on quite a bit, which I'm kind of
Oh.
exceptionally happy about. Like that does,
Sure
I
you
don't
like
know,
that,
like
dog.
one last hurrah before it's all over.
Yeah. Mhm, mhm.
Like, I still got it.
Yeah, that's what it was. Brandon said something to me on the phone the other day. He's like, "I just want to look pretty." He was talking about me. I just want somebody to tell me I'm pretty. I was like,
Yeah,
"That's
you just want somebody to tell you you're pretty. That's okay.
what I
You're-
want.
you're
That's
pretty.
all I
Guys don't
want."
get
Yeah.
compliments enough, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think you're pretty, Ryan.
Thank you.
You got a
You're
pretty.
you're
There
very
it is.
pretty, Ryan.
Thank you. I do all this peacocking for all of you.
Right? That's right.
Look at all this gray. It's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Luscious.
You got
All right.
real pretty mouth.
Silver fox.
Dude, I love you guys. Thank you so much. I'm gonna end the recording, but I just wanted to say before I do, one more time, I love every single one of you. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for taking a little part of your Saturday today and a little part of your Wednesday the other day to do this with me. And much love. And I'll see you guys soon. And see y'all later.
Love you, dude.
Bye.
I mean,